All right, everybody, check this out. An unexpected zombie outbreak has brought the city to its knees. Society has collapsed to a nightmare state. Only the fittest and luckiest have a chance of surviving this ordeal. Our protagonist falls on the latter camp. The group of fashionistas gather together and basically they form a friendship to survive the apocalypse. And thanks to watching a 4-hour unknown Australian film with no subtitles at an art house cinema. Even zombies have standards. Luck will have them join a group of hardened survivors who will see their resilience put to the test thanks to our main character's utter dumbness. I'm Jay LaRock, and this is the Gamer Profiles Show. Thanks for watching. Today we're going to be talking hipsters versus zombies. And it's a cool, or should I say hip, 2D side-scrolling, retro-inspired run-and-gun game that just hit the Kickstarter scene, so you guys gotta go check this out. But we're happy today to be talking with Carlos Castilla from Arpic Games. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
So I just like the idea, like when I first saw the announcement, I was just like, okay, that sounds really cool, just, on its base end, hipsters versus zombies. But, I was also reading like about your background, like how, with as far as art and, being an art director and also doing the 2D modeling and things like that. Can you just first tell us about your gaming background? Like, what was your first gaming experiences?
Oh boy, my first gaming experience was Jetpack on the Spectrum. I don't know. It was played on a cassette, and it was I don't think they were very popular in the US. They were this tiny computer with rubber keyboard. Oh, so yeah. Really, really old. I'm really showing my age here. And you would have to put the tape, play it, hear this screeching noises for like 5 minutes just to play a really simple game that had you like going up and down shooting aliens that always went horizontal. That was my first game ever. Must have been 86, something like that.
I don't think I've ever played that game.
It wasn't that popular or original, but you see, the thing is, the computer came with 6 games, and they were all from this British company, I think, Imagine, which is really, really old. From then on, the first game I bought must have been Arkanoid.
Oh, I love that game.
Oh boy, it really got me hooked forever. And you know what's funny is my whole family played. It's like we would take turns playing Arkanoid, and my mom should be doing this. Oh, because she was just amazing. But she stuck to her psychology career. Don't know why. And I did this.
And so art has also been part of your background as long as gaming.
Yeah.
And I was reading like how you even have like you've done like animated shorts and different art projects. Can you tell us like some of like the different projects that you've worked on in the past?
Yeah. Basically, I've worked on a couple games that didn't get released, which is an absolute shame. And both of them happen to be very retro in style, which really suits my cartoony style. And funnily enough, one of them, the very first game I did was a 2D shooter with a little girl that flew around shooting light bulbs with a hair dryer. And that was great fun to do, but I did all the illustration, animation, everything by myself. So, boy, it was a hard and long project, and it was heartbreaking to not for it not to see the light. Then I worked on some concept art for another game called Magnet Off, but that didn't come through either. And that's when I joined Arpic, and yeah, basically that's it.
For people who I've been reading lately about game designers, game publishers, people who are looking to get into gaming. Do you have like I guess advice that you would give someone, especially like if they're on the art side, that would maybe help them break into the industry?
Oh boy, you have to be out there. I mean, you can be the best artist in the world. I sure am not. But if no one sees your work, it's like it doesn't exist, and you'll never have, I don't know, Blizzard knock on your door to see like, oh yeah, I saw your blog and it's great. No, you have to be out there and publish everywhere from conceptart.org to, I don't know, Facebook, of course, Twitter. On the technical side, I think lots of people starting out, me included, only want to do like the cool thing, like the money shot, where it's a main character with a sword killing 1,000 orcs and there's blood. And no, that's not what gets you a job. What gets you a job is being able to do the small thing, like design the sword, like how it relates to the size of the character, what the hilt is like. Do the boring things first.
So it's mainly about flexibility. Like a lot of times people just think that, like you said, you put a blog together, maybe you submit it one place. It's like you have to just keep grinding all the time.
Oh boy, do you have to keep grinding? Yeah. In fact, most of the work I did before my game projects was the most boring, bland things you could imagine. I had to design and animate Romans doing Roman things. Like this was for a museum, so I would be drawing robes all day, and it gets very boring.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it was, and it's funny because you think your own way, and you think, well, let's have a green robe, and then I would bring it to the guys at the museum, and they tell me, oh no, green tint didn't exist in this period of Roman history, so it can't be green.
Oh wow! So it's really detailed to make sure that you get it. It's authentic.
Absolutely. I mean, we even had to check if at the time that the animation was supposed to be set, linen was green or yellow. So yeah, you have to do lots of the boring stuff and get some reference.
So as far as Arpic Games, it's located in Spain. Is that correct? You said?
Yeah. Wow. On the East Coast.
Nice. I've never been to Spain, just seen pictures. Yeah. What is the gaming scene like in Spain?
Oh, I think it's very, very strong. It's growing very strongly. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a couple quite big companies that were really famous, at least in Europe, which were Dynamic and Topo. But for quite a while there was like a lull there. No one filled the gap. And nowadays there's like lots of small indie companies doing lots of stuff. I mean, Valencia, which is the city we're in, is the third city in the country. It's not that big. But there's like 30, 40 game companies going on.
Wow.
So yeah, I think it's a very lively scene, and I hope to see it grow even bigger.
Now, as far as hipsters versus zombies, I kind of talked a little bit about the intro that was listed on the Kickstarter, but can you take us through and just give us like an overview of hipsters versus zombies?
Zombie explodor ruinigas la mondon. Socio kolapsis, kaj nur la plej forta aŭ la plej bonsanka esti posvivinta. Niaj ludantoj estis bonsanka. Ili finas esti parto de unu aranda grupo de sobrevivientes kiu ondigis sian akirita sensenkaĵo.
Okay, so I've always been a zombie fan, and that's kind of very mainstream right now. You know, with Walking Dead and everything around zombies is like really passé right now. So we thought we want to make a game with zombies. Zombies are cool, but everyone's bored with them. So let's do something to make them hipper. What's hipper than a hipster?
Yeah.
So yeah, and we thought it would be cool to just have this sort of tension between hipsters being all about their looks and being cool and being like very up to date, and the undead, because they don't look good, they look horrible.
Yeah, it's like the opposite. Maybe grunge.
Yeah. It's like the old grunge guy from the 90s going like, oh, you don't know anything about this, and then hipsters come like, oh yeah, Nirvana's the coolest. So yeah, something like that.
I really liked when I was reading the Kickstarter about how it was retro inspired. I mean, yeah, you have the 2D, but that doesn't necessarily always mean retro. But there was elements from games like Metal Slug, Contra.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about like those inspiration from those games, that went into hipsters versus zombies?
Well, you see, I'd say the main inspiration is obviously Metal Slug. I've always loved this frantic action in video games. You see, I've tried, but I'm not one for strategy games, for long 2-hour sessions, just, I don't know, like building an airport in a city. No, I want my video games hard and fast. So the idea was to make it like Metal Slug, where you would have to die 1,000 deaths before knowing where this guy's coming from and where that bullet is coming from and how to avoid it and make it through the game.
And that makes it exciting. I mean, like Metal Slug was definitely an awesome series. I mean, I loved all of them, but I mean, you had to be crazy good to not die a
Absolutely.
lot. But it didn't take anything away from the gameplay or the fun, even though it was difficult. So is that what you guys are going for? That, yeah, you may die a lot, but you're having fun, so you want to come back. It's not just hard for hard's sake.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like there's this game from Capi, Super Time Force Ultra. I don't know if you've played it.
I've seen it. I haven't played it myself, though.
Well, it's crazy. It's incredibly hard. But it's got this feature where every time you die, you can rewind the tape and keep going back at the bad guy. I love that because it's like a commentary on just how you would have to play and play again and die and die and die until you get it. So yeah, that's what we're going for. And I think you have to go for a very, very strong game design for one of a game like that to work. You see, because it's very easy to make a game that's hard for hard's sake, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
It's another thing to make a game where every time you fail, it's your own fault, where you notice, oh boy, I had to move here instead of there to not get hit, and then shoot back at the guy.
Yeah, death is a learning experience.
In a way, it is.
So, I mean, and can you take us through like the hipster weaponry? Because I think that that's something that's unique.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
Metal Slug had, you know, some conventional weapons, but also had some weapons that were cool. Of course, the tank itself. So can you tell us about some of the weapons that you get in Hipsters versus Zombies?
Sure. Well, there's a couple characters in Hipster vs. Zombies, and each of them has their own weaponry. We thought that allowed for us to have lots of funny weapons. The main one is the vinyl record. You throw vinyls shuriken style, which will kill the zombies. Then, if you want to get really heavy, you've got a jukebox, which has a flaming pipe in front of it. So you shoot flaming vinyl.
Nice.
Yeah, of course, necessary. And yeah, and for close combat, we've got a typewriter. Because, you know, typewriters are heavy things. They're not practical. They're noisy, but they're really heavy. And
yeah,
like
a lot of people don't use typewriters anymore, but I remember seeing those old ones. I mean, that thing falls on you, you're seriously hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also thought it would be like really cool from the animation standpoint to have you hit the zombies and all the keys just flying out from the strength of your hit. And we also have a huge tattoo gun, because, you know, what's more hipster than tattoos? Well, yeah, a tattoo artist. So yeah, we've got like the rapid fire tattoo machine gun, and we've got the ER special. ER can be for Ellen Ripley or emergency room, whatever you fancy. And it's it throws fireballs of ink. And yeah, those are the big elements, and there's like variations on those.
What about the Warbucks? Warbucks Cappuccino, Napalm.
Yeah.
I mean, that just sounds awesome. It looks like a Starbucks cup, and it's just like it looks like it just does devastating damage.
Yeah, I forgot the biggest one. yeah, instead of grenades, you throw Warback's napalm chinos. I don't know if I butchered the pronunciation there, which are really, really hot, and they melt the poor zombies.
That's awesome. It reminds
yeah,
me
that's
of the case with McDonald's a couple of years ago, where the lady, sued successfully, by the way, for the hot coffee. So it's like, hey, it can be hot, and melt some zombies with it.
Oh boy, I didn't know about the McDonald's thing.
Yeah, it's pretty sad, but I mean, I can imagine hot, really hot coffee, and if it being like a spoof on Starbucks, expensive hipster coffee. That sounds like it's a good idea to throw on zombies. I like it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, that's my favorite weapon, I have to admit. Don't know why I forgot it.
As far as the characters themselves, Sugar and Ulysses, besides weapon types, and of course one being a male, one being female, it says that you learn about their story. So it's not like these are just default lady or guy running around. You actually learn about them, right?
Yeah. Ulysses is something of a writer, or he pretends to be a writer to pick up chicks, and
I tried that, didn't work.
Yeah, me too, didn't work either. I got into art trying, here I am. Anyway, so yeah, that's why he carries his typewriter around, and yeah, it's like we considered several ideas for the relationship between the two characters, but yeah, basically Ulysses is something like a hipster bodybuilder, right? So he's very self-conscious about his image, about pretending to be this very deep character with lots of conflicts, but he's just in it for attention. And then Sugar, on the other hand, is like this really rad, aggressive girl who's a tattoo artist and goes around like trying to show very blatantly that she doesn't care about her image or anything. But then she's got like this long flowing hair with two colors, and so she's got like a conflict there. She's got a real conflict. But anyway, it's a shooter. Don't expect like really Walking Dead depth.
Yeah, but no, it's still cool to kind of know something. I mean, like it's like when you're speaking of Contra, like, or even Metal Slug. Yeah, you didn't really know that much about the characters, but like when I found out, like Theo in Metal Slug, in the later Metal Slug, you find out a little bit about them. It's kind of interesting to still have a little bit of information on the characters. It doesn't have to be, like you said, a deep Telltale or Walking Dead type thing for a shooter, but it's kind of cool to know a little bit about them. And then like the typewriter kind of makes sense. He pulls out a typewriter and he's beating them with it. And it's like, okay, it fits even more with the characters. So I like that kind of detail.
Yeah, that's the thing. We considered including vehicles and having like a longboard, a fixie, and maybe even a mini tank, which would reinforce the idea of each character. But time, we didn't have the time to do it. We might in the future.
And another cool thing is you have the level design, which, like you said, it's the 2D inspired. And then you also have the music, which I was reading about the composers. Can you tell us a little bit about the levels and then also about the music and the words?
Yeah, sure. A part I forgot to mention is that if we get to well, funded to that level, we'll be able to do final levels for each character. So there's like the general levels, which would be, I a shopping mall, which or what's more mainstream than a shopping mall?
Yeah.
It's hipster hell. A shopping mall. We were considering Central Park. Then there's like outside the city, where you go into the sewers and fight rats and the like, which is always great fun. And then we were considering like a hipster hell for each of them. Something like maybe Ulysses would have to fight all the dead authors that he keeps name dropping.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, and then Sugar would have to fight all the people that she tattooed back in the day that have come back from the dead, asking for a refund.
I love it.
Yeah, and that's the idea. We have 2 more characters that are a bit more diffuse, which we might develop, who are a ukulele player and a longboard pro. And yeah, I'm so looking forward to designing those 2. And what was the other part of the question? I'm horrible.
The composers and the music?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were shooting for a very 80s synth kind of vibe. Like, Giorgio Moroder, who worked with Daft Punk recently. Mm-hmm. It's this very repetitive, danceable kind of groove with synths. And I'll be honest, I tried to do it myself. Didn't work. And we were very, very lucky to meet the guys from Averno, who do this electro-European kind of stuff, which is quite similar to Giorgio Moroder. They might kill me if they hear this, but that's what I think. And they were very excited about the project, and they did the music in an evening. It was amazing.
Wow.
So yeah, those guys are pros. And yeah, you should check them out if you're into that kind of synth thing. They're perfect. Really good.
So currently it's on Kickstarter, and if everything was to go well, when would you hope to have the game released?
Hopefully somewhere around December, because we've got most of the layout of the game worked out, but it's the level design that we want to really get right. I know it takes a lot of testing, so we thought we could put out a joke game just for the sake of it and have it be unplayable, or just allow months for the testing and to make it a good, proper game that's replayable. So yeah, somewhere around December.
Very cool. So I hope that everyone will go over to Kickstarter. We're going to put a link as well on the website and also on the YouTube page so you guys can find it. But go check this out. But before we let you go, we always ask our guests what is their favorite classic game. And this could be like from any console, computers, it can be far back to the 80s, or it can be even a little bit more modern. But if you had to pick one classic game to be your favorite, what would it be and why?
Oh boy, that's a hard one. I think I would go with Doom. because as I said, I'm not a guy for long sessions. I just want to kick out the jams, and Doom was like really very, well, I don't know, cathartic would be the word. Like, you go in there and you're shot by everyone and you kill all of them and you're like, yay! And that's the kind of gameplay I love. And it was also relatively simple and playable. I can't play modern shooters, but I'd play Doom any day.
Yeah, that the aspect of the game definitely was conducive to like the mixture of having that classic feel, but it was immersive enough, even though, like you said, it was simple. But it's something that you can play over and over. I mean, even today with all the graphic intensive games, you can still go back and play that and have fun.
Yeah, and it's, as I said, it's a game you can play over and over, and it's still a challenge, or at least it is to lousy players such as me.
Well, the game is Hipsters versus Zombies from Arpic Games. Right now, you can go on to Kickstarter and check it out, so I hope you will. You know, this game looks really cool. I like the retro-inspired feel. I like, of course, the idea of hipsters fighting zombies. I think it's really great. But Carlos, thanks for coming on and talking with us today.
Thanks for having me any day. I loved it.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna keep up with this project and you know, find out what's going on, because I'd like to really try it out, you know, once it gets funded and released. But thanks everybody for watching another episode of the Gamer Profile Show, where we go all around the world to find the gamers and game makers for your favorite games of the past, present, and future. I'm Jay LaRock, sponsored by Obsolete Gamer, where the gaming world goes to talk, and we'll be back very soon with another episode. But until then, remember our motto: never stop gaming. See you later.